race resolution. Today, the Georgia Board of Education will meet to talk about guidelines for teaching race in classrooms all across the state. This has been a hot button issue that we've been following for you as parents, teachers, and students debate the curriculums in Cherokee and Forsyth counties. This is our top story this Thursday morning. Joe Ripley joining us live from outside the state's Department of Education in Atlanta. So Joe, walk us through some of this resolution.
Hey, good morning to you, Aisha. The resolution the Georgia Board of Education will consider today is 5 pages long. It calls for students as well as faculty and teachers and administrators alike to be treated equally regardless of race. This comes on the heels of Governor Brian Kemp denouncing critical race theory. This decades-old analytical approach to teaching in the classroom seeks to answer the question, how has racism impacted society? But critics say critical race theory place blame and guilt on white people for centuries of oppression. The resolution calls this approach political activism and divisive, saying schools that allow this kinds of teaching should not receive funding from the state. Forsyth and Cherokee County school boards have already pledged not to teach critical race theory, but Dr. Beverly Tatum, an educator on race, says debates about this must happen.
It's hard to have a conversation when people aren't using shared language. So if one person is saying, ban critical race theory, but they have an understanding of it that's different from my understanding of it, it's going to be hard for us to come to common ground.
Supporters of critical race theory say there is a lot of misrepresentation and misunderstanding about what it's about. They say banning it altogether and ignoring race inside the classroom does not make the problem go away. So the Board of Education will consider this resolution today at 1 o'clock here at the Capitol.
Joe, it's so funny to think about this. I know we can all recall our elementary teachings all the way through high school, just how we learned about history as it relates to some race-related issues. Now today here in 2021, if this resolution passes, what does it mean for the future of topics like critical race theory, which in itself, Joe, is a very interesting term?
Yeah, it is, and there are several debates about the issue itself, as well as the term critical race theory. But looking at today, you see this resolution either passing or failing. But there's still much debate to come because State Representative Brad Thomas out of Cherokee County plans to introduce legislation next session to address this. So the debate far from over, Aisha.
All right, Joe, thank you.